There's this memory I have of the mornings back home in Mogul. I remember how the first light would just catch the mist settled on the hills all around our valley, and it would turn everything silver. And from the market down below, you'd start to hear the day begin. You know, the mix of voices, the clatter of stalls being set up. That sound, that light. Yeah, that sound, that's really the heart of my home. A place the world knows as the Valley of Rubies. And to really understand it, we have to look at all its different sides, all its facets. So our story really begins with the land itself. Mogok is tucked away in the hills of the Mandandalay region of Myanmar, in a place that's officially known as the Mook Stone Tract. For generations, this valley has been the source of the world's most desired rubies, sapphires, and other precious stones. Now, what's interesting is that most of the gems here aren't actually found in hard rock. For centuries, miners have searched for them in a special kind of gravel that is washed down from the mountains over millions of years. We have a local name for it. We call it Bian. But how did this one valley become such an incredible geological treasure chest? Well, the story of how these rubies even came to be it's really a miracle of nature. It's like the earth had this very specific, very rare recipe. First, you have this immense heat and pressure that basically cooks ancient limestone until it becomes marble. Then, while crystals of aluminum oxide were forming, these tiny traces of chromium got trapped inside. And that combination over millions and millions of years created the unique, glowing red of a marble-hosted ruby. It's like my home won the geological lottery for real. For centuries, these stones were the property of Burmese kings, a total symbol of royal power. But then that history took a really sharp turn. When Britain annexed Upper Burma back in the late 1800s, everything changed. European industrial mining methods arrived, and to get to the richest gem deposits, the British company made this absolutely staggering decision. They moved the entire town of Mogul. The very place where my ancestors lived just became a massive open pit. Today, it's a lake. But you know, the land didn't give up its treasures easily. Early British engineers wrote about how tough it was. The rock they expected to be hard would suddenly just turn into this soft, watery mud, and it would cause their tunnels to collapse. And that difficult history has absolutely shaped the present. Today, the scale of mining is just vastly different, and it has left these deep scars on the land and on the lives of my people. I mean, huge open pit mines have literally changed the shape of our mountains. They've led to deforestation, landslides, and polluted water. And the work itself is so often dangerous, usually done by migrant workers and ethnic minorities who have very few protections, very little in the way of a safety net. It's such a stark contrast, isn't it? On one side, you have the back-breaking reality for these art miners. And on the other, you have the glittering luxury shops where these stones eventually end up. They're like two completely different worlds, but they're connected by a single stone. The beauty of the gems has, it's always been shadowed by struggle. And since the military coup in 2021, that struggle has become a full-blown conflict. To really understand the conflict, you have to understand the stakes. We're talking about a gemstone trade that's worth an estimated $400 million a year. If you control the mines, control that flow of money, and a lot of it is headed for the massive market in neighboring China. So after the coup, the official mining licenses just expired. Local miners rushed in, but they very quickly became targets for extortion by the military junta. Now, the situation's shifted again. Ethnic armed groups like the Taong National Liberation Army, a group fighting for self-determination for the Taong people, have driven the military out and have taken control of the mining areas themselves. And this creates such a confusing picture for the outside world. Official government narratives might suggest that things are stable, but reports from human rights groups on the ground, they paint a very different reality. One of escalating conflict where civilians are just caught right in the middle. All of this brings us to what a stone from my home truly represents. When you look at a Mogul ruby, you're not just seeing a beautiful mineral. You're seeing the light of our misty mornings. You're seeing the deep geological time it took to form. But you are also seeing the history of kings and colonists and the deep uncertainty that my people face every single day. So, the next time you see one of these gems, I'd urge you to ask, what is its full story? Because knowing its origin isn't just about geology or market value. It's about people. It's about the human cost. And it's about acknowledging our connection to all the stories held within its fire.